I've been in these exact moments with you.
Probably why I showed you this movie right off the bat. Like, oh, Ty, what do you think of this one?
I like it. I like this one.
Pretty good.
Yep, it's good. This is a good one.
We don't think about it. We just push record, just get started, just dive in.
I find
no prep.
It's best to not plan a thing and to just let the sound waves hit your lips and just let it ride, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Impromptu all the way.
Absolutely. Every day. All day, every day.
Listeners, welcome. We are back. Week 3.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. We are well into summer now.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoying it,
I'm
sure.
Wow, it's so hot outside. We didn't put this in a can a month ago. That's for sure.
Well, it is certainly hot. Even
it is
though
hot.
This is early. This is hot
it's
right
bull
now.
honky is what it is.
Yeah. We're actually at the point in the summer right now. Currently, we're recording. We've got about a week of school left, and we are just roasting and toasting.
Yeah, our yard's already getting burned up. I was like, this is bull crap.
Yeah. I'm not happy about it either.
I'm not. I still got to train. I'm doing a sprint triathlon, and I still have a week worth of training.
Yeah.
And it's so balls hot outside. I'm sweating my nuts off.
Oh, okay. No one wants that
Rach
visual.
makes me not cuss as much as I like to, and so then I find other ways to be crass.
Yeah, you just crash.
Sweating my balls off.
Well, so this week we are again doing a little rewatch. People are probably looking at the titles of this and thinking like, Rach has never seen Braveheart? Ty has never seen My Best Friend's Wedding, which actually is not that crazy because when was the first time that you saw this movie? It wasn't like that long ago.
No. And like, okay, your first movie, Waiting for Guffman, I had seen twice before.
Mm-hmm.
So that was number 3 when we watched it for the pod. This movie, this was my second ever watch.
I can't believe you've only seen it 2 times. Have you ever caught it on TV?
Well, like, I guess tiny snippets.
Sure.
But, like, I'm talking about 5 minutes or less. Not any more than, like, sat down for 15 minutes even and watched it.
How could you turn it off after 5 minutes? I don't understand.
Because you were watching on E! News and there were commercials, and the minute a commercial came in or I felt like something was being censored, I was like, F this noise. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I'm not wasting my time.
No.
So only the second time viewing this.
Yes, the first time.
Yeah, tell us about the first time I made you watch this.
Okay. Imagine this, ladies and gentlemen. Ty and Rach are beginning their journey of making movies and making each other watch them, and they're only friends.
Mm-hmm.
But Ty's secretly in love with her. And so here we are, making these lists of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Rach shows me our movie today, My Best Friend's Wedding.
I think this was the first movie I showed you.
Yeah.
Like at you show, I show, like, okay, this time I was like, okay, I'm going to show you this movie. I love it a lot. I hope you do too.
Yep.
And what movie did you show me first?
Little Monsters. It was a strategically huge misstep. You don't show the girl that you're in love with that you're trying to woo over the movie Little Monsters. If you haven't watched Little Monsters since it came out in the 80s, it's not good.
No. It was terrible.
It has so many flaws. He has the jingliest jacket, Huey Mandel. It is
Howie Mandel.
It is not a movie to be like, yeah, this will make her fall in love with me.
She's going to really take me seriously after this one.
But you know when I think I won her over? I think my next movie was Three Ninjas.
You were pulling out all the stops early on. I'm surprised we even had movies to talk about after that.
I'm going to hit you with my heaviest hitters.
I don't remember what I showed you after this. Did I show you like Amelie?
Amelie. I had never seen Amelie.
Oh my gosh, another one of my top 5s. This is a top 5 movie for me, by the way.
But My Best Friend's Wedding
My Best Friend's Wedding is a top 5.
I was going to be shocked if you were going to come at me today and tell me that it's like in that 6 to 10 range. I was like, I don't think it is for you, Rach. I think it's top 5 for you.
But it is 5. It's a solid 5.
Okay, I want to play a game.
Okay.
You've mentioned other like top 10 movies on this podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
Is Waiting for Guffman still your number 1?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
this movie, My Best Friend's Wedding, versus You've Got Mail.
This is number 5. You've Got Mail is in the 6 to 10 range.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
This movie versus League of Their Own.
Same. 6 to 10 range.
League of Their Own is in 6 to 10.
Yep, this is 5. This is
is
above
5.
both of those
And
movies.
you know
but
what?
I adore those movies.
You know what 2 through 4 are?
You
don't have to tell us. We can keep that suspenseful.
Let's keep it suspenseful. I do have it now. One of them I think could probably be swapped out. I just don't know what I would swap it with yet because my 6 to 10 range is infinitely awesome.
Do you think next season you're going to show the listeners 2 through 4?
I don't know. Are we? Is that what the plan is?
Well, I don't know if I will, but like if I'll continue on because they're going to know my whole top 5 after the next movie I do.
Okay.
But I think that you should show them the rest of your movies. Next season.
Be vulnerable to the people?
Yes.
To the listeners?
Yes.
I don't know.
Say, here's my heart, now shit on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go home and buy my pillow. Waiting for Guffman quote.
First time I saw this movie, I think this was Grandma's VHS collection.
Oh, it's Columbia House Movies.
Yep. I think so.
Yep.
I think so. I can't really think of a different time, but I had seen it so many times, so it had to be something where I could watch it on repeat. So it had to be VHS of some sort.
Yeah.
Somewhere, even though it's I mean, there's an F-bomb in it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know what this is rated.
I'm guessing it's still PG-13 because you can always say 1.
You can say 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some suggestive material, but not too much.
Mm-hmm.
Not too crazy.
Yeah.
Guess for the year when this came out?
I think it was after. So I told Rach she's got to put it in sequence with Julia Roberts. You don't have to do that right now.
I can.
But this is just my guess.
Okay.
I'm going to guess it's after Notting Hill and before Runaway Bride. So I'm going to say it's 97.
Okay. You are like partly right. You're right in the year. It is 97.
Oh, okay.
But that's before Notting Hill.
Oh.
And coincidentally before Runaway Bride, which you were correct about.
Runaway Bride is that like in the early 2000s? So it's like 04? No, you don't have to do it yet. Save it. Save it.
Runaway Bride is 1999.
Oh.
Notting Hill is also 1999. Remember, that was like a year. She had a year. And then this is 97. So this is 2 years prior to that.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense. Can't you tell from like the fashion that this is like more 90s versus like early 2000s? I mean, 99 is not 2000s,
for
but it's
some
kind
reason,
of there.
I thought Notting Hill was like earlier in her career. I thought it was like 96, 95-ish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a 2000s movie to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think of Love Actually as a 2000s movie and Notting Hill is a
they're exactly
90s
this.
movie.
They probably came out the same year.
Nah.
Like maybe a year apart, tops. Maximum.
Go back and listen to those episodes, listeners, and you can prove us right-ish wrong.
Right-ish wrong, yes. So this was 97. So for Julia, this was like the big comeback to the rom-coms that she had done in a while. Really, since Pretty Woman, she hadn't done another rom-com. So Pretty Woman was like 1990.
So she was doing like Pelican Brief.
Yes. Pelican Brief, 93. Sleeping with the Enemy, 91.
Yes, I've never seen that.
91.
Oh, but Hook, oh my gosh.
She's cute in Hook.
So I never, as a kid, had a crush on Tinkerbell, but I had a crush on Julia Roberts in Hook. And I was like, I don't think Tinkerbell's hot. Which is
that's weird.
I know I'm not against like having crushes on cartoons because I had a crush on Little Mermaid.
Sure.
And Jasmine. So
we're not above that.
Yeah, I'm not above that. Nobody's saying I'm above that.
Yeah.
But I had a huge crush when she was Tink in Hook. I was like, oh my gosh.
Ugh, the hair, the messy
short,
hair.
I'm not usually the like pixie haircut, but I was into that. I was like, yeah.
The little shag mop.
Awesome.
Tagline for this. Julianne fell in love with her best friend the day he decided to marry someone else.
But okay, this brings up, I want to get it. Let's
already get into it.
Let's get into it.
Wait, before that, can you tell the people what it's about just real quick? Give us a synopsis, and then let's get into what you're about to get into because I think I know where you're headed.
Okay.
And I want to go there with you.
Yes. My best friend's wedding.
Yes.
Imagine this. Julia Roberts.
Yes.
Sexy as ever. Oh my gosh. So hot. Big hair. Lots of pantsuits, though, which is a questionable choice. But, you know.
It was more 90s.
Yeah, she was into what she was into, and I could see through the pantsuits, and I could see a beautiful butterfly underneath. So Julia Roberts hanging out with her editor and best friend and gay boss. And they're talking about there was this guy in her past, and when they turn 28, if they're not married to anybody, they're going to marry each other because they used to date and they were always like the kind of like mad about each other, but like she wasn't ready to commit to him, and he was really into her. He was like totally head over heels in love with her, but she kind of friend zoned him, and she just kind of kept him on a string. She was like, I love him, but I didn't want to commit to him, and so I'm just going to like kind of go along. And this kind of gets into the love part that you just mentioned. And now
this guy played by Dermot Mulroney.
Yep. And can we talk about him a little bit later, too?
Of course.
Yep.
I just want to throw some names in because I'm going to refer to these people
again.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls her up and leaves a message. And she's like, oh, my God, do you think that message is about this? And her boss is like, absolutely. It's got to be about him. And so then she calls him back and she finds out it's not we're 28, let's get married and boink each other for the rest of our lives. It is I met Cameron Diaz, and for some reason, I think she's hotter than you because I'm crazy, and I'm going to marry her. But she is very sweet, and she's very nice, and she's just young. She's young, but she's super sweet. And so she goes to the wedding nuptials, and she is going to serve as the maid of honor for Cameron Diaz because she's the guy's best friend and other shenanigans. But then you get to see she goes through a Machiavellian plot twist, a Shyamalanian plot twist to a Machiavellian character where she tries to break them up almost the entire movie.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorite things. We'll get into this even more later on. But she says this multiple times in different ways. I'm a bad person. And she is a bad person throughout the movie. She's this hero character, the anti-hero.
Anti-hero.
And we watch her do despicable things, but she's so charming that you still root for her. And you want her to end up with the guy. And then we'll talk about the ending, I'm sure, later. But here's what I want to get into.
Yeah. Okay.
You said that in that movie synopsis, they said the tagline was she didn't realize she was in love with him until he was getting married. I don't agree with that. I think she always knew she loved him, but she didn't want to make it happen because she's afraid of commitment. And so she wasn't going to go the extra length until he's getting married. And she's like, shoot, I'm not going to miss my chance. Like, I've always loved him. And I dangled him on a string and wouldn't commit to him and had fun with all these other dudes while we were friends. But I have always loved him. And I thought that was clear.
So you think that she always loved him, that this was more about loving versus just like winning back a prior love.
She has conflict with that in herself. She talks about that a few times in the movie, and she even her gay boss comes and meets her in the middle of the movie. He's like, what is this about? Is this about you really love him or you just want to win him? And she goes, at first I do think I just wanted to win him. But I actually there's something about him. He's so stupid and I love him. Like, she was in love with him. I do believe she was in love with him. And I think she was in love with him the whole time. But I think at the beginning, it was like he's always been mine.
Yeah.
How dare him move on? How dare her steal what's always been mine? And then her realizing like, God, I've always been freaking in love with him. Gosh dang it.
Yeah.
That's what I think. What do you think? It's your number 5 movie.
I know. Well, I try to think, okay, had this movie gone differently and had they ended up together in the end, spoiler alert, a wonderful spoiler, they don't end up together, which is one of the reasons I love this movie.
That whole idea, if they would have ended up together, do you remember what was the movie with Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson we watched?
Something's Gotta Give.
Yeah. And how they end up together in the movie, and I hated that. I was like, if they would have just like learned these lessons and like moved on and like been friends, but like they don't end up together, I would have been totally into this movie. And the ending really just bothered me.
Yeah.
This movie sticks the landing because she learns and grows and they don't end up together. That makes this movie, if they would have ended up together, the score literally drops 20% for me.
Yeah, this becomes like every other rom-com ever written, and it's not special.
Oh, and especially because she's so Machiavellian throughout the whole thing that she doesn't deserve to win. And so she doesn't, and that's what makes you feel for her, and you feel like she's an actual human being and a great character and a great human, and then it makes the movie also increase in awesomeness.
Yeah. I guess I try to think of, had they ended up together, how long would they have lasted before his stuff would have gotten annoying to her again, and it just would have been all full circle back to where she's like, yeah, commitment wise, I'm trapped.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she thinks she loves him.
You just think she thinks it?
No, I think she does love him, but they're not a good match. Yeah, I think.
You think?
I don't know.
Think about all those moments. Think about all those moments where there's moments
they're such good friends.
where they are at the ball game and they're just having a beer and stuff, and they like look so comfortable around each other.
Do.
And
they
here's
so
Cameron Diaz, and she's so high strung and so young, and like there's not a lot of connection between them.
Well, I don't know that they should be together either.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
So you've got that, and then you have these moments like when the whole family like breaks out into song, and Cameron Diaz is singing too, and then they look at each other and they're just like looking awkward. It reminds me of there were moments where you and I were in relationships and things were going like weird around us, and we would just look at each other and share these looks like, well, you know, we're kind of both stuck in these relationships, but I don't know, we have this connection. There is something to that I was like, I've been in these exact moments with you.
Probably why I showed you this movie right off the bat. Like, oh, Dad, what do you think of this one?
I like it. I like this one.
Pretty good.
Yep, it's good. This is a good one.
Well, the director, one of the reasons why he selected this movie or just signed on to it was because of the fact that you hit on it, that anti-hero piece. He's like, if I'm going to do a rom-com, I love the idea of doing not necessarily a villain, but of somebody who is just not your typical mainstream lead in a rom-com. I want something different.
Yeah.
And so that was the writer's goal. The writer is Ron Bass.
I saw that name, and it looked familiar on the credits.
It might to you because he had done a couple of things like Sleeping with the Enemy. So he had already worked with Julia Roberts before.
Okay.
He'd also done Rain Man.
Oh, never seen Rain Man. It's on your list.
It's on the list. Listen to some of these other ones. Waiting to Exhale.
I've actually heard of Waiting to Exhale.
How Stella Got Her Groove Back.
Yep.
A movie called Joy Luck Club. All three of those have to do with not straight white males. So it's very interesting that you wrote Waiting to Exhale, and especially How Stella Got Her Groove Back. All movies about sassy black women. Like he wrote that.
But Sleeping with the Enemy, which is I've never seen, but like I know the plot of that one.
Yeah.
And so that's serious.
He has a lot of range.
Yeah, he actually does.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Oh, he also wrote
gamut.
Stepmom, which is another great Julia Roberts film. We probably won't get to it because, as you know, I do way too many Julia Roberts films.
Yes, you love this movie, though. You've mentioned it before.
Stepmom, yes, it is. We'll watch it someday, but we'll just watch it for us. It's not a...
You don't think we'll pod about it?
I don't think it's podcastable enough.
Podworthy?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But it is watchworthy. So, the little plug for that
maybe
movie.
It's a bonus episode. Maybe it's not part of the 10-episode season.
Or maybe it's just for me.
Okay.
But the writer, so he had based this concept off of a real person. He had read this article from this woman's perspective about learning about an ex and him getting married and her kind of just contemplating like what could have been had they ended up together. And at the time he was reading this article, he was also going to one of these 4-day-long high society weddings in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So like a lot of money, a lot of like, okay, we have grandma's brunch and then we're going to go to the luncheon over here.
Yeah,
and then, you
the
know,
4-day affairs.
Yeah,
yep.
all the things. And so he kind of mixed those ideas like what would happen if this gal showed up to that wedding and actually like caused havoc.
Yeah.
Would that be fun? Would that be
Sure.
a good movie? I think yes. I agree.
I
it would
think
be.
it was a good movie.
Apart from having the heroine not end up with the guy at the end, that was also something that he wanted. He did not want the classic rom-com ending where it's happily ever after. He wanted it to be conflicted. He also wanted her best friend to be the kindest, handsomest, smartest, most rational person in the film and to be gay. He really wanted to make a point. Her real life best friend, not
the guy
her,
she's going for.
Yes, her current best friend, her gay editor.
Yes. Okay.
Her editor who's gay.
But he wasn't like. Wait, say all those things again.
Kindest, handsomest, smartest, and most rational person in the film.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually thought he was just like a goofball. He was charming, but he's more of like just a goofy character. I actually don't think that those qualities were qualities I would
Really?
give him.
Oh, he's
I would
so
give him,
handsome.
I would give him like he's tall, he's charming, he's a goofball.
Yes.
And he like causes havoc as well. Like, I don't think he's super kind. He's like a mischief maker.
Well,
he's like
in
a
the
Puck.
sense that
He's Midsummer Night's Dream Puck is who he is.
Because he's
He
trying
comes
to
in and
teach her a
stirs shit
lesson
up.
because she's not being honest. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, fine.
Well,
you want to play this?
Yeah, just like
Just
Puck
like
in Midsummer. He's like,
I
Titania,
suppose.
you're being a little naughty. All right, I'm going to make you fall in love with an asshole. How do you like that?
I suppose.
We have to meet George.
George.
You must be Kimmy's little sister.
Oh.
Julianne's fiance. They're going to be married.
No.
Yes.
What's going on? Julian's getting married.
Why didn't you tell us?
really been time.
I wanted to shout it from the rooftops, but Jules said no. Pumpkin, no. This is Kimmy's day. Let's not take the attention away from Kimmy. Dear, sweet, adorable, chocolate-covered Kimmy. Those were her very words.
I think I'm going to cry.
Me too.
The writer did go on to joke that Will and Grace essentially stole this concept from him,
Oh, okay.
which I do love Will and Grace. And if I think about that, it's like, oh yeah, that is kind of like these two characters, but later on.
Yeah, I
Living
suppose.
together, hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good film. Movie, TV show, whatever.
I actually think that show's just okay.
What?
Yeah, I'm not a huge Will and Grace guy.
Grace?
I watched quite a bit of it, and for me, I thought it was pretty overrated.
What?
Yeah, maybe I've never shared that with you until right now.
No, clearly.
How do you feel about Frasier? Do you love Frasier too?
I mean, Frasier's okay, but Will and Grace
Yeah,
is
it's just okay. Frasier's just okay, just like that, just like
No, Will and Murphy Brown. Stop,
Murphy Brown.
Stop giving
also
me.
just whatever.
That also moves the needle. These are
You know what show I liked?
what?
And you're gonna be like, this was not better than Will and Grace. I thought Spin City was pretty funny.
All right. Okay. Here's what. Yeah. I'm not even gonna touch that one. Okay. Frasier aside, the other two that you mentioned, like
Murphy Brown?
Murphy Brown. I didn't watch it. It was a little like I was a little too young.
Oh,
for
I
it.
watched it.
But
It was
what I'll
whatever.
say is, again, pretty influential as far as pushing women forward in
Sure.
TV and being a lead, so important. And then Will and Grace, one of the first mainstream openly gay couples.
I know. I'm not
couples,
saying
but
that.
openly gay
I'm not saying
people.
that I am mad that they existed. I'm just telling you, I thought they were for me. When I'm sitting there watching them, I was like, oh, whatever.
All right. I guess they weren't for you. I loved it.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you found it.
Yeah,
That's
I
something
did. I
you
did
loved.
find it.
You know what I
and
loved?
loved it.
I love.
I don't want to know what you loved.
Legends of the Lost Temple. I thought that was a cool show.
We're
I
not
like,
just.
Are
we're
You
not just-
Afraid of the
no, we're
Dark?
not
That was a
just
cool
listing
one. I think I'm
shows you
90s
watched in your
shows.
teens. Oh my goodness. Well, that's the writer. So then the director for this, P.J. Hogan, he had done a movie before this called Muriel's Wedding, and
Okay.
Toni Collette's in that. And I've never seen it.
I
but
actually didn't know Toni Collette at all until like her recent run.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I didn't know
Like
her
when?
back in the day.
When did you know her? Like Heredity on?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, seriously?
I mean, I knew she was famous when she was in Hereditary.
Yeah.
But I
Oh, did I
never,
say it right? Yeah. Go on.
but I never like remembered what she was from.
Mm.
It was like, oh yeah, I think she's famous from back in the day. Like that's how I would approach that movie.
Mhm. Well, he is an Australian,
Okay.
and Toni Collette's also Australian.
Boo.
Why would we boo the Australian?
No, because the Kiwis, they're always bossing me around. They're always yelling at me.
When what?
When I
do
used to go
they?
to spin class.
Oh, in spin
Yeah.
class, you have an
They're all
instructor who's
all
from.
four instructors on the virtual video. They're all
Oh.
Kiwis.
Yeah, I wanted you to pull it out a little
Oh,
bit more.
okay.
I know what you're talking about, but it was weird. You were
Yeah.
just ranting about kiwis, so I needed you to explain
Yeah,
that.
so I'm not a Kiwi fan. I've had enough of them.
Other movies that he's gone on to direct after this, that Peter Pan movie in 2003.
Oh, I
never,
hated that
I
movie.
never saw that one.
Oh, it's the boy actually grew up and was in stuff afterwards.
Okay.
And oh gosh, who was Hook? I can't remember. But anyways, it's terrible. I saw it in the theaters
Oh,
with
you
my
saw it in
little
the
cousins in
theaters?
Texas. Yeah,
Oh.
and I was like, what a trash movie. This movie sucks.
Oh, very good.
Especially because Hook is so good, and then
Hook
that
is good.
came out, and you're like, oh.
There's not a lot of Peter Pan movies in some way,
There
shape,
was
or form.
Yeah, there was a new one that came out maybe in 2019-ish, like in the last 5 years. There was
Oh,
one that
that's
came
very
out.
recent. I was just thinking even like you had like the Kate Winslet and Johnny Depp were in a version of that, Finding Neverland or something, wasn't that?
Oh,
Am
yes.
I saying that right?
I think that's about the author, though.
Yeah, but again, it's all
Yeah,
like
Peter
related
Pan-ish,
to
yeah.
Peter Pan lore.
Yep.
He's also directed the movie Confessions of a Shopaholic. Have you ever seen that before?
No, never.
Isla Fisher
Okay, yep.
is the lead in that one.
Super cute.
She's super cute. She's the shortest little thing though. I wonder how tall
really?
she is. Yeah. I
What
think
if she's
so.
taller than you? How will you feel after you just said that? Have
I'm-
you slandered her?
I
this
am
pod?
short too. I'm not saying I'm not.
Yeah, right. You said Isla Fisher. I'd use you like a little armrest.
I did not say
You
that.
little
Listeners.
dinky.
Rewind it. See if I did.
Hey, tiny Isla.
Is that all you got to say?
Yeah, I was trying to think of something clever. I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, you paused and I was waiting. I was going to give you a moment to finish your.
I can't think of anything.
All right, moving on. So the shoot for this took about 6 months, which is kind of a long time, but I think that's
is
back
a long shoot.
back in the day how films used to be made, like long shoots.
No, Braveheart, I think they did it in 3 months.
Really?
Yeah, that was an epic.
Oh, that's
I
crazy.
think
Yeah,
they
and it was
started
like
in
5
June
hours.
and ended in October.
That's wild.
4 months.
I don't know why this one took so long then.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You wouldn't think it would take
It's
that
like
long.
Boyhood took 7 years, was terrible.
Okay. Filmed in what iconic American city, Ty?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Oh. That's so we're gonna do a lot of Chicago stuff.
Did you enjoy all the Chicago landmarks in this film?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
like that it was set in Chicago.
I do
so,
too.
So many things are set in L.A. and
LA,
are
New
set
York,
in
blah.
New York, and I was like, oh, I love a little Chicago.
Me
here and there.
too. Yeah, mix it up.
Mix it up.
Mix
Show
it
us the other city.
Yeah.
There's only 3 in the U.S. according to movies.
Oh, they're in Minneapolis, but just kidding. We filmed this in Toronto.
Yep, nope, not even real. So I'm kind of gonna jump ahead a little bit. I
Okay.
kind of want to talk about the ending.
Ooh,
Is that
yes.
okay?
Let's do it. Let's get gritty. Let's get nitty.
Love it. So initially,
Mm-hmm.
the ending did not have her dancing the night away with her gay best friend.
Oh.
Initially, and it went terrible with test
Test audience?
audiences. They hated it because
She hooks up with his brother. His little brother.
no,
Looks like he's maybe 16.
no, not him.
Oh.
No, but she does kind of like read kind of like a poem or something to him for the speech, and
Uh-huh.
essentially the poem like still indicates that she's still in love with him. So it's almost like she doesn't like really quite learn her lesson.
Yeah, so she's still like trying one tiny
one
little.
last stitch, one last
little-
grand effort.
Like you're gonna go off to your honeymoon. And you're gonna remember this poem I read you, where I confessed my love to you in a more romantic way,
Yeah.
and you're gonna think, I could get this in old still.
Yeah. But she does end up meeting somebody at the wedding towards the very end. And this gentleman, we know from a little show I like to call
Spin City.
Sex and the City.
Oh, she meet Big?
No, doesn't meet Big.
Who'd she meet?
Who did she meet?
The other guy?
Aiden?
Aiden? That's so lame.
John Colbert.
I would
Yeah,
rather
or
have her
Colbert.
meet Big than Aiden.
Why?
Because Aiden's got that long, gross hair, and he's like kind of balding in front, and he's like weird,
Well, maybe
quirky,
he
like
had short
hipster
hair.
guy.
I don't know.
was like, no, not hipster guy. Come on.
Well,
Aiden's fine. Aiden's fine for Carrie and Sex in the City, but Aiden would not have worked for me in this. I would have been like, no, not Aiden.
Well, test audiences agree. Furthermore, they did not want to see her character happy at the end.
Well, she is happy.
Well, okay, they didn't. Let me rephrase this. The director and writer went back and fixed a lot of this because at the end of it, they had realized that the first like 2/3 of the movie, people were laughing and loving it, but the last half an hour, all just the air got sucked out of the room with test audiences, and they didn't have enough pieces that made this character feel relatable or feel redeemable. It
Yeah.
was just like, she's evil. We hate her. How dare she end happy? No,
Yeah.
she's the worst. So they had to go back and they had to refilm some pieces that
6
made
months.
her in 6 months. This is the reshoots. So they refilmed the end of it.
Uh-huh.
So that way she doesn't end up with like a guy, because also like
She
that
doesn't need to end up with a guy.
She doesn't need a guy. It's so much better without a guy. 'Cause
Yes.
you got to be happy with yourself.
Absolutely.
And your gay best friend.
Yes. Her dancing with her gay best friend was the perfect ending. And if we would have met a guy, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Once again, this movie would have dropped probably, like, okay, them ending up together would have dropped to 20%.
Yeah.
Her ending up with Aiden
Yeah.
would have dropped at 40%.
Yeah.
We're talking about a well-rotten movie at that point. I'm like, get this movie out of here. It's on your top 5. You out your mind, girl.
Well, it just makes everything that she just went through so insincere. Like,
Yeah,
you
it
just try
didn't
to
mean
bake up a
anything.
wedding, and all of a sudden you're just going to, like, jump on the next guy that you think is cute. Like, to me, that's like, ooh, who is this character? Yeah, no wonder why people hated her. It's like, she's the worst. But the fact that she is what we feel truly in love with, her best friend, who marries, not her gay best friend, her straight best friend.
Yeah.
That's how I'll distinguish them.
Yeah, straight best friend.
Who marries another woman, but she says her piece and she moves on. She lets
loves
them
him
go.
so much, she
has
lets
to-
him go.
She has to let him go because he doesn't love her that way.
That is
She has to
true
accept it.
love. It's like my favorite starting line song I used to listen to all the time. He loves you who loves you more, to let you go. Boosh.
Let you go.
I had the strangest dream. I dreamt that some psychopath was trying to break the two of you up. Luckily, I woke up and I see that the world is just as it should be. For my best friend has won the best woman.
Because they did some reshoots, did you see that Julia Roberts had a wig on for this very last wedding scene?
Nope, not at all.
I know,
I did
it's
think
so
her,
hard to tell.
her hair looked like a little wild a couple of scenes, but that not during that scene, not
Yeah.
during the wedding scene.
Yeah, I
though.
think that was probably her real hair. Probably looked more wild, and then it was almost like more kept together when it was a wig
Yeah.
for the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Because she had a pixie cut, but I don't know why she would have had a pixie cut. Because after this, she does like Notting Hill in 2 years, and I don't know. Maybe she just had a cute short haircut for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rach, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
In what movie is Julia Roberts the hottest?
I think it's this one.
I mean, we get to see her stomach, and girl, you were in shape, girl.
Yeah. Most people don't think of Julia Roberts for her core six-pack abs, but she's got a lot of midriffs, a lot of 90s OG midriffs,
Yeah.
and your girl is toned.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it might be this movie as well.
Yeah.
I think this might be Primo.
Yeah, she's got her signature like reddish hair that just
Yeah.
like is all over the place, which
It's
I love.
crazy. It's crazy in
Yeah,
an
some
awesome
people would
way.
probably say Pretty Woman. I don't know. I
She's
think it's this
she's
one.
pretty young and Pretty Woman though. I
Yeah.
like this. I like a little more like she's aged.
little more
You know, she's a little
aged.
more mature. Oh, Rach, another question.
Okay.
Who is the hottest of all of her beaux in all her movies?
Mm.
Who is the hottest guy she plays opposite of?
Okay, let's think here. We've got Richard Gere twice.
Yep.
So we got OG and old Richard Gere.
Yep.
We've got
George Clooney in the new movie.
Clooney. Well,
and that Paradise Tickets to
and
Paradise
Ocean's
movie.
11.
Yeah,
They're apart from that. We've got Brad Pitt
Oh,
in
they
the
are opposite each other in that.
Yeah. We've got
Brad
Brad
Pitt
Pitt
in
in
The Mexican.
I mean,
That movie's terrible.
It's Brad Pitt in The Mexican. I can just answer that question right now. But I think, what's his butt in this?
Yeah.
I think Maroney's pretty cute. Scar and all.
Yeah.
He's got a little scar on his lip. You know how I got
Mhm.
that? He was feeding his baby rabbit when he was a kid.
And the rabbit
I say baby
latched on
rabbit.
and ripped off half of his chin.
No, he dropped a plate and the plate cracked
Oh.
and slit his lip.
Oh. Oh, okay.
But the rabbit was involved.
Well, he shouldn't tell people that second part because if he says, "How'd you get this?" Be like, "My baby rabbit." Like, whoa, what a story.
Did you recognize
guy's
him
interesting.
from
Oh, yeah.
before this?
Oh, I mean, from Family Stone and from.
Well, like later, yeah. But
Yeah.
have you recognized him before anything prior to this?
I
Maybe.
don't think so.
Did you ever see Young Guns?
Yeah, I've seen Young Guns.
He's in that.
Oh, with Charlie Sheen.
Sure.
I think.
I've never
Wait.
seen it, so I don't know.
No. Young Guns is with Emilio Estevez, I think.
It could be.
Oh, shoot. I don't
You
remember.
you can
Watch,
literally say anything
watch,
right
it's
now.
Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. How cool would that be?
Amazing. It also said that he was in Angels in the Outfield. I don't remember. He must have been just like a random.
Yeah, he had to be like a
Outfielder.
random player in that movie. I don't remember him in that.
But you're right. Family Stone, The Wedding Date, all those movies.
Do you want me to talk a little bit about him?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh my
Let's
gosh,
talk
Rach.
about him.
By the way,
what are your thoughts?
Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez,
Nailed
and
it.
Friends.
And Friends.
Yep. And he is one of them. Yep. Okay. I've seen this guy act in a lot of movies. He's in the new Scream movie, actually.
Yes, he is. Most recently.
Yep. And this is by far his best performance.
He's very good in this.
He's excellent in this. He is fantastic. He deserves a ton of credit. And he's not that great in any other movie. Every other time I see him, I always think like, oh, it's the My Best Friend's Wedding guy. And then as I watch a movie, I've seen him recently in 2 movies.
Sure.
And as I watch, I'm like, yeah, you're just not that good.
That's good.
This is the first, so this is the 3rd movie I've seen from him in the last year, and the only movie that I would say like, yeah, you're good the entire time.
He was solid.
Yep.
This movie, I think, is so well cast.
Yeah.
I think everybody is at their top, and they're not always great in everything else I see. I would say same with like Cameron Diaz. I think,
Yes.
although I will say, I was looking back at her filmography. She has a lot of good films. She has a lot
Mask.
of bad films. Yep.
Super good in the Mask.
First and foremost.
Seriously.
20-Year-Old in the
Great.
Mask. Incredible.
Something About
First
Mary.
movie.
Excellent.
She's wonderful in that.
She is great.
Gangs of New York.
No, she's terrible in Gangs of New
She's
York.
great in
Her
that.
Irish is known as like some of the worst dialect work on the planet, unless you're listening to Ty try to do Scottish during the Braveheart
Any Given
episode.
Sunday.
Yeah, she's okay.
Vanilla
Nah.
Sky.
She's not good at Vanilla Sky.
She's great in
Vanilla
that.
Sky's a weird movie.
Shrek.
It's not good.
She's really good
Yeah,
in Shrek.
her voice acting is pretty good.
You want to know who else is in Shrek?
Who?
Our 4th person that we haven't spoken about yet, Rupert Everett, who is the gay best friend in this.
Oh.
He voices Prince Charming in
Oh.
Shrek 2. So they actually have been in
I
another
like his
film.
voice acting as Prince Charming.
is really
I think
good
that
in
voice
that.
actor is really good.
Yeah, he's also very good. We'll talk about him in a minute. Back
Okay.
to Dermot. Anything else you want to talk about him?
Well, do you agree with me? Do you agree that this is the best thing that he's done?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I think he's like perfect in this.
Yes.
Not a perfect person, but he's a perfectly cast.
He
in
does a
this.
great job of staying like subtle. He gets mad, but not in an overblown way. Like he keeps it toned down. That the kettle always has its lid on. The entire movie. He has like this like hurt that shows up when like certain things happen. Like this little emotional pain that starts to shine through. I think it's a tremendous performance. I think he's excellent.
Well, he would love a sequel, so he must agree with you.
Yeah, well, that's
really
good.
liked his work in this too.
That's good. But I bet he wants a Family Stone sequel as well, and he doesn't deserve one of those.
Oh yeah, he was also in August Osage County, but I don't remember him in that.
He must just be I only saw that movie once.
Me too.
And they were in that together, Julia Roberts.
They
and him.
were another one.
But he probably is just a husband in that movie, and they're not a big role.
He was also in the TV series Homecoming with Julia Roberts too, so they are actually good buds.
Okay.
They even message each other anytime the song "The Way You Look Tonight" comes on.
Oh, okay.
Spicy, eh?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, do you think he says things to her like, "Hey, beautiful.
Oh,
Oh, I've seen you naked.
I don't know about that.
I've seen
but
you with a lot less clothes than that." I kept
the
thinking,
lines in this
They're-
are like blushable.
They are, but they're like best friends, and they have been for so long that it's one of those things that at first I was like, oh man, you're getting married. It's really hard for me to like think about you saying this to another person. But then I had to remember they've been
They
friends
have a
for
history.
9 years. They've been best friends. They've been through everything together. That you might say something.
including physicals.
You might say something to your best friend of 9 years that if your wife heard you, you might be like, oh, maybe that's inappropriate, or I wish you wouldn't say something like that. But at the same time, there's so much history, there's so much closeness that they've had and experiences they've had together that it was forgivable to me. I was like, yeah, they've been through so much shit together.
Yeah, a lot of people, well, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for a lot of people, but there were many people who watch this nowadays too are like, he's actually kind of schmucky too. Like, as far as like, no one is like perfect in this, right? And that's why this movie works, is because there's no like, You're great. You're a great person. You're a great person.
Yeah.
If anything, like he's a little bit complicit. He's a little bit putting himself in situations like, what did you think was going to happen? You know?
Yeah, but she's his best friend.
Yeah.
It's not just
Who he also was in
It's
love
not
with.
just a friend. It's his best friend who he was in love with for 9 years.
Until recently.
Cameron Diaz. Don't understand it, but that's not for me to decide.
Last fun fact about Dermot is he is also an accomplished cellist.
Oh, wow.
So there you have it.
How about that?
That is cool.
And I can't get Rach to play piano once a week, but he's an accomplished cellist. So.
It's not your job to tell me to play piano once a week. Casting wise, other people to talk about. The director brought up the only other actress who could have played this role, and I don't
Julia
even know.
Roberts role?
Yeah, the Julia Roberts role. Yeah, thank you for clarifying. And she wasn't even like offered or even auditioned for it, but he was thinking back to other actresses at that time who anyone
Yeah.
else who could have played it.
Wait, say this again. 98?
97.
97. Okay.
Yeah, oh, do you have a guess? There's only probably one other person
I
around
mean-
this time who could have played it and done like that physical comedy
Yeah.
and been endearing, but still beautiful.
I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow was like gonna break on the scene a little bit later. She was too young.
Not goofy enough.
And she was too young.
Yeah, someone else who does like comedy and
Drew
physical
Barrymore?
comedy.
She was too young
Somebody
too.
who's even hotter.
Oh,
in
Catherine
the
Zeta-Jones.
90s.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Can you see her doing a lot of pratfalls? I can't see her doing a lot of pratfalls, which there were so many in this. Maybe too many, but
Yeah.
I don't care. Sandra Bullock.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't she have been good too? I mean,
she would have worked as well.
Julia Roberts is perfect. She's
Yeah.
perfection in this role.
But Sandra Bullock would have been really good.
But Sandra could have like taken a role like
yes.
this and also made
That's
it her
a
own
really
too.
good call.
Yes,
Yep.
the physical piece. They're so similar. I don't think about that sometimes.
Yeah, like think
as
about
far as the types they play and what they can do.
Well, Sandra's more goofy. Like she's up a notch in the goofy scale.
Sure.
Then Julia Roberts is a little more toned down, a little more girl next door doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Than Sandra Bullock. Like think about her in Miss Congeniality. She's wild,
So
but
funny.
she's so freaking fun.
And the heat.
Yeah.
She's funny in that.
She's
She has a little bit more comedic chops under her belt.
Yep.
But also like just like stunning, and you're like, I don't care.
Have you ever seen that movie she won the Razzie for? All About Steve?
No, have you?
No. No, I haven't.
Maybe we should do like a Razzie season.
Yeah.
where we just watch
all
the
Razzie's cats. Let's just get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it with those real hands. Okay, I had reported this in other films that we watched for Julia Roberts,
Uh-huh.
but I could not re-find this fact. So I'm going
Okay.
to say this fact again, but I need to clarify.
This could be lies.
I think this is lies because I couldn't reconfirm it, but
Yeah.
I've said this twice before in Notting Hill and Runaway Bride. So apparently, Julia Roberts was not the first pick for this.
Okay.
And nothing to do with Sandra Bullock.
Wait, in this and Runaway Bride?
No. I brought this fact up.
In Runaway
twice,
Bride.
yeah.
Okay. But for this movie, she's not the first pick, you're
She
saying?
wasn't the first pick. Somebody else from a little show I like to call Sex in the City was apparently
Sarah Jessica Parker?
Yeah.
That would have been a terrible choice.
Yeah.
And we're watching Sex in the City. I'm enjoying it. Sarah Jessica Parker is good in it.
Yeah.
But we're not even talking on the same planes of existence when we're
No.
talking about SJP versus
Yeah.
Julia Roberts.
Well, and apparently according
JR, baby.
according to this fact that I could never find again, she had signed on for Sex in the City, so she couldn't do it. But again, like I don't think so. I think it was always Julia.
Yeah.
I just
Mm-hmm.
it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Why would you
The
risk
other
it
way
on-
makes no sense.
It doesn't.
SJP is not going to sell this movie in 97.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Because she wasn't the rom-com
She was
queen.
nothing at that time, really.
She was nothing.
You meant nothing to me. You were just a conquest. Cruel Intentions, shout out.
Other Julia Roberts facts that I have shared before, but I will just make note of just so that I can. She is the most bankable leading lady in
Yep.
Hollywood.
Yep.
Her films have made over $3.8 billion.
Wowza.
Yeah, she's number one. People Mag's Most Beautiful Woman 5 times in a row. She has
Deserves
the
it
record.
every damn time.
And we kind of already talked about some of her films, but you had asked me too, as far as like the, what do you want to call that? The successfulness, the bankability of her films? What's like the top?
No, I wanted to know, like, when people rank them.
Oh.
Like
Well,
best Julia Roberts movies.
Can you change your mind and can you
Yeah,
ask me about the money instead?
yeah.
Because that's what I looked up.
Yeah, let's do the money. I'm now that you mention it, I guess I'm more curious about the money.
I mean, when people rank them, what kind of like best Julia Roberts films per people?
I don't know, like Josh's movie website.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I can't find that. I mean, people be like, "Oh, it's Ocean's 11. It's always
Duh.
she's the best."
What are we talking about even? All right, I've got this list, by the way, by The Guardian. We'll let the Brits decide.
Oh my word!
But you tell me yours.
All right, I'm gonna work randomly from number 8, which is this, My Best Friend's Wedding. This is number 8 at $2.99 million.
Oh, okay.
What did I say? 299 million.
Oh,
There's no
that's
point.
way more. Yeah,
That's a big
and
difference.
I love it. I was like 2.89 million. That sounds about right. That's not even weird.
All the way up to, then we have Hook at number 7. We've got Notting Hill at number 3 at 363 million. Number 2 is Ocean's 11 at 450 million, and number 1, can you guess the number 1 Julia Roberts most highest grossing film of all time?
Oh shoot.
Yep, you had it. You almost
Pretty
made
Woman?
the plosive P. Yep,
Yeah.
Pretty Woman. $463 million.
Okay, Rach, are you ready for The Guardian's top 5 Julia Roberts movies?
Yes.
The Brits have chosen.
What is it?
Okay, number 5, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I don't know that.
Never
George
seen
Clooney
it.
directed it.
Oh, okay.
Number 4, Pretty Woman.
Okay.
Number 3, Notting Hill. Number 2, My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yes.
And number 1, her Oscar-winning film, which I've never seen.
Whoa.
Yes,
Really?
Erin Brockovich.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Brockovich.
I mean, she's awesome in it.
Is she?
Yeah, she's really good in it.
How awesome are you talking?
Academy Award winning awesome.
She deserved it? Did you
Okay.
see all the movies that year?
I don't remember what she was nommed against, but she had a fabulous dress, so I think she deserved to win it.
Okay, Empire puts My Best Friend's Wedding at number 6, behind Notting Hill, Closer, which Closer is a great play, but no, not the movie.
For her.
Ocean's 11, Pretty Woman, and also Erin Brockovich. There's 2 publications.
All right. Well, they're both wrong.
Gold Derby.
No.
Yardbarker says this.
Other cast members. Let's get on to, can we switch gears to Cameron Diaz a little bit?
Absolutely. I would love nothing more.
Also, big bang for her buck.
Yeah.
She is the 5th highest grossing actress. What do you want to say? Her films have made $3 billion.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're all
I
worth it, but
just-
they're all high grossing films.
She has depreciated over time.
Interacting?
Yes, in her film projects and everything she does in the entertainment industry.
Well, she did retire from acting in 2014.
Well, that's good. After Bad Teacher, she should have retired as soon as possible.
Did you see that movie?
Yeah, I saw it in the theaters.
Why did you see it in the
Because
theater?
the student that I was hanging out with wanted to go see it when I was working as an EA in the summers, and his mom was like, "Yeah, he wants to go see Bad Teacher if you want to take her to that." I was like, "Okay, we'll go to Bad Teacher." And I thought, what the heck is going on in this movie? This is terrible.
What is this?
Terrible. Shame. Ding, ding.
Well, I think she's wonderful in this.
She's great.
She's just about perfectly cast in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking about best Cameron Diaz roles, like this one, no joke, The Mask, she's great.
That was her first film. She's
She's great.
21 years old.
And
in
Something
that.
About Mary, she's great. She's great
She's
in all 3 of those.
wonderful in those.
I'm trying to think of other movies where I put her up there. Otherwise, a lot of movies that a lot of people like, I think she's not good in.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Yeah, she doesn't do it for me in a lot of films that people love her in. Like,
Yeah.
I think she's kind of just fine in other
Blah.
filds. But
She's bleh.
she's blah. She's all right. Do you remember that she was supposed to be in Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, she's supposed to play Sonya Blade.
Yeah, but she broke her hand.
Yeah.
Training.
Yep.
Wild.
So wild.
So wild.
She would have been good as
Would you
Sonya.
have loved her in Sonya? Would she be your favorite actress of all time if she was Sonya Blade?
I would have liked her more.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah, I would be like,
You-
you know, she had some problems later in her career, but she was Sonya Blade, so she's actually pretty good, I think.
Yeah, that totally changes his tone so
It's
quick.
like the gal who Billy Madison who ended up playing Sonya Blade. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
she's a pretty good actress actually because she was Sonya Blade. in Mortal Kombat. She does a good job.
You are so predictable sometimes. Well, that's Cam. Other things that she's gone on to do, she writes like health and wellness books and makes a lot of money doing that.
I bet.
And obviously she's made so much money making films that she doesn't have to act anymore. And so she just runs off with her Good Charlotte husband and has a
Oh,
great
she's
time.
married to the guy from Good Charlotte?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Who is a twin. And his twin is married to Nicole Richie.
Really?
Do you remember who Nicole Richie is?
Yeah, I do remember Nicole Richie.
Yeah, so the two of them are sister-in-laws.
That's crazy.
Nicole Richie is obsessed with this movie,
Oh.
My Best Friend's Wedding.
Yeah.
And the last time that they went to Chicago, she made Cameron like reenact like a lot of scenes. She's like, okay, now say it over here. And Cameron's like, no, I'm not gonna. She's like, do it. I love this movie. Do it.
So, was the Good Charlotte twin in the band with him?
Yes. I don't know.
I wasn't a
I
huge
don't know
Good
enough
Charlotte
about
guy.
Good Charlotte.
Yeah, me neither.
Honestly, right now, gun to head, I'd be like, a Good Charlotte song.
Here we go. It's the little things,
There it is.
They always bring me down.
I know there's a lot, but I just can't think of a single one right now.
That
and
one I
I'm
know.
gonna
And then
mess
what's
it
the
up.
stupid one where he like raps in the middle of it? God, they were so bad when they got popular. They were the worst. They were like them and Gwen Stefani. They literally put them on a boat and just ship them off to the seas. Like, get out of here.
Well, I will
See you in the-
say,
go to the
no doubt
Philippines.
Gwen is great, but yes.
No doubt Gwen is
There was-
great
there
until
was a
No Doubt
chapter-
becomes popped out.
This just becomes Gwen Stefani.
Becomes
but-
yes, doubt. It's
So
awful.
much doubt.
So I have a lot of doubt right
All
now.
the doubt.
I have my doubts.
All right, Rupert Everett, our last of the foursome that we're going to talk about. Do you know him from anything?
No, I couldn't place him at all.
You do know him from something.
Get out of here. How?
I will tell you. You actually know him from at least two of these things. Obviously, Prince Charming, but I'll give you that because it's his voice.
Yeah, I was never going to get that.
A movie that we watched. We never potted about it, but we talk about it an awful lot.
Oh.
It's a movie that...
Do we want to pot about it? Or does it never come up? Because we watch it too much.
Honestly, we probably could have potted about it, but we just didn't.
Okay.
This was also a play that you were in your last year of grad school.
Sense and Sensibility.
Maybe earlier in the year.
Oh, Silent Sky.
Maybe this was the year.
That was in my last year. Then.
Nope, it wasn't your last year.
Mamma
this was
Mia.
the year before your last year. My bad.
Newsies.
Oh my God, you're putting every
Shakespeare
play.
in Love.
Yes.
Oh,
he's in
okay.
Shakespeare in Love.
Who was he in Shakespeare in Love?
Who was he in Shakespeare in Love?
He wasn't Shakespeare. He
Nope.
wasn't Wessex. He was.
Big three though.
He wasn't Ben Affleck.
Okay, big four.
He was
Who's in-
Marlowe.
He was Marlowe.
Oh, he
in
had
Shakespeare in
different
Love.
hair. That's what threw me off.
That
His
was-
hair,
It was the hair.
ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, his hair was different.
There you
That's
go.
what it was.
He was also in Midsummer,
Okay.
the movie.
Yeah, I've never seen the movie, actually. Christian Bale. There's Michelle
You've never
Pfeiffer.
seen it?
It's like 1,000 stars in it.
We should probably watch it sometime,
Yeah.
just for fun. And then other ones that he's been in. He actually has quite a few movies that I think, oh, you would actually really enjoy his career. I feel like,
Yeah.
if you could like swap places, because he was also in Importance of Being Earnest.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a movie that he was famous for before this was An Ideal Husband. I don't know what it's
Okay.
about, but that's what he was famous for. And then he also got to play Oscar Wilde in a movie called The Happy Prince.
Oh,
So,
fun.
Obviously, you cannot play all these because
I'm not gay.
You are not gay.
But
his other rep, like a lot of shakes, a lot
Yeah.
of like plays.
yeah, fun. You're right. Fun
Marlowe,
career.
like
I bet he
that's
was.
pretty cool.
Oh man, I bet he was Algernon or Jack in Importance. God,
Yeah.
that would be
He was
fun.
one or two. I don't remember
fun
which one.
career.
It was a fun career. Yes, he's beloved. His philosophy on weddings is very funny. Can I read this to you?
No. Go on to the
please.
next thing.
Okay. Something else you should know about him
Yeah.
is he is maybe a Brexiter.
Oh.
He's one of those.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
So he is not in line with
He
the
doesn't-
Scottish people.
He doesn't like cancel culture, but I mean, most people don't. But he's like really anti-cancel culture,
Yep.
and he maybe likes Brexit. So
Oh, okay.
He's just a little
How
different.
does he feel about vaccines?
I don't know. I didn't ask him that.
You could tell me how he feels about weddings.
Okay,
now.
he says, I loathe heterosexual weddings. The wedding cake.
Can
the
you do it in a British accent?
I can, but it's not going to be good.
Yeah, it will.
The wedding
You're-
cake, the party, the champagne, the inevitable divorce 2 years later. It's just a waste of time in the heterosexual world. And in the homosexual world, I find it personally beyond tragic that we want to ape this institution that is so clearly a disaster. Because he's a little, well, I don't know if he's anti-gay marriage, but I think he's just anti-marriage.
Marriage, just
the
in
establishment.
general.
So it sounds bad when you say it like that, but and when you say that he's anti-gay marriage, but I think it's just marriage.
He
in
just
general.
hates love.
He's not a hopeless romantic like the many men that he has played
Yeah,
in
I
his
suppose.
movies. So there's that. That's all you need to know about Rupert Everett. Test audiences loved him and demanded more. The writer loved him and demanded more. He had about maybe 2 scenes, maybe about like 2 lines worth of material when this project started.
Oh.
And so he kind of said he came in not super excited about it. He was like, I'm going to play like this little like token tiny gay character and then just be done with it. But they just said like whenever he was on scene, he just kind of like stole the scene, and it was just this energy and this livelihood. They're like, we have to write him in more, and they did, and they did, and they ended it with the song and at the brunch spot. That was like the last final.
That was the last
flourish.
thing they filmed?
Yes.
Okay.
And the wedding and the end of the wedding scene, him redoing that ending, but then also like, hey, let's add another musical number in this movie.
Okay, so here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
The movie has a lot of singing in it.
It does.
It has
It
a karaoke spot with Cameron Diaz where she's terrible.
Yes.
And
we're going to jump back to that scene just so you know.
Okay, so I won't hit it very hard. So there's that sequence, and then there's this brunch sequence that Rach is alluding to, where the whole family's sitting around, and he breaks out into song because it's a part of the story about they're pretending they're gonna get married, him and Julia Roberts, and he like tells a story about the song that came on, and then he sings it, and then they all sing it. And then, like, the whole restaurant gets involved. I'll be honest, it was, like, the one part of the movie that I was like, this doesn't fit with a lot of the rest of the movie. It's too much.
It feels a little much.
This is...
It's a little cringe.
This is an overboard moment, and they sing the whole damn song.
They do.
It's not like a quick thing where everybody sings a little, sing a little tear for you, or whatever, and then they just, like, sing a little bit. It was, like, this huge production number that just went on and on and on, and I was like, okay. This is too much. You've gone too far.
You've gone too far.
Yep.
But how
Beyond
else
the
were they
pale.
going to give the gay character a bigger role? He had to have a number. He had to have a sing song.
You know what? When that would have been okay?
When?
If that was in like the credits.
Oh.
And that was
That's
playing
good.
while the
That's
credits
good.
were going.
Yep.
That's like that moment. It's not the moment in the middle of the movie where you picked up a lot of steam and then you're just watching this cringy dance and song number forever.
What I will
and what's
say-
weird is Cameron
okay.
Diaz doesn't like to sing, and she sings that whole scene.
But with everybody. That's different when you're by yourself versus
I
you're
know,
singing
but I
along.
just saw a little bit of character inconsistencies there. I was like, this feels pigeon-tailed in there, and that's why we're gonna Cameron just sing along with it. We're not thinking about anything else with the movie. It felt like a misstep.
Well, maybe she's so confident from her karaoke night that she's like, maybe I do like singing after all.
Well, maybe she
Maybe
could
it's not
have
so
maybe she
bad.
could have said that at the end and be like, "Oh, wow, you're singing again." And be like, I know everything's karaoke. I love
No,
singing.
That's not non-essential.
Yeah, we needed to see some character growth if we wanted to get there.
Well, let's talk about that karaoke scene.
Okay,
It's
Yes.
one of my favorite scenes.
karaoke
in this movie.
scene's great.
The karaoke scene is, there's a lot of karaoke scenes in movies. This is, I think, the most iconic karaoke
No.
scene. What?
No,
What's more iconic than this?
27 Dresses, the bar scene where they sing that song.
Oh.
That is better than this karaoke
It is
scene.
good, but it is not more iconic than this.
Well,
This is
maybe
most
not for the
iconic.
general masses, but for me,
For
the
you.
27 Dresses scene is way better than that one.
There is so much plot that happens with this. So Cameron Diaz was actually horrified to sing this. She was told that she was going to get to lip sync
Oh,
the song,
yeah. Yep.
but then they said no, you're going to actually sing it live. And so she really is that bad. She's like, I am that bad.
You
I
hear her
didn't
singing
act.
The Mask. She didn't sound that bad in The Mask.
I don't know that that's her singing. in
Get
The
out of
Mask.
here. That's
I
not
don't
her
know for
voice.
sure, but maybe.
Oh,
yeah, 'cause
my
she's a
gosh.
jazz singer. In The
Yeah,
Mask.
she's a jazz
Yeah.
performer. She's pretty much Jessica Rabbit in the flesh.
Yeah, well, that might not have been true.
What?
But the director said she is one of the easiest people to blush, and he wanted to play that up. So
Yeah.
she said she
Like
was
you.
just like me. I mean, watching her, I could feel like my face getting like sweaty. And she said the only thing that got her through was that Dermot was just there and he's like, you can do it. Keep going. So being really encouraging and getting her through it. But she said it was traumatizing to get through. It was fun when everyone jumped in, but she said at the beginning of it, and they had like several takes of it, but she said it never got easier. It was always so hard when it was just her singing by herself. And it was painful. Yeah. It was very painful.
Wow.
Just don't know what to do with myself. Don't know just what to do with myself. I'm so used to doing everything for you. You suck! Planning everything for two. And now that we're through, I just don't know what to do with my time.
Julia Roberts and Dermot actually, prior to filming, had done some karaoke together. Because they're like, we gotta like get to know each other. We gotta be best friends. So let's go do some karaoke. Let's have a good time.
Sure.
And they sang "Summer Lovin'." That's their song of choice.
Very nice.
Very nice. Other favorite scenes in this that you have?
Oh, that you want me to talk about?
Yeah.
Oh,
or you don't have to be your favorite scenes, or just scenes.
Yeah.
Do you want me to start with one?
Yeah, you start with one.
Okay, let's talk about under the bridge moment.
Oh my gosh. Favorite scene in the whole freaking movie.
Well, good. I'm glad
I love the bridge scene.
All right, set it up for us. Set us up.
Okay, imagine this. We've come to the moment where Julia Roberts knows that she's got to make a move. She has tried so many tactics and nothing has completely worked. They're on this boat and
They're doing a riverboat tour of Chicago.
And her and the guy, they're talking like this really like beautiful, subtle dialogue where you just can tell there's so much they want to say between the lines. Even that he wants to say. I felt like he wanted to say things too.
I know.
In that scene, not in all of them. And some
Yeah.
of them he was just like waiting for her to like say whatever you need to say. But in that scene, you could tell like there's unspoken things from him too. And Julia Roberts talks about like, you know, you have this moment where you need to like make something happen. Like you get these moments in life.
He says that to her.
Or
He
he
says
says.
sometimes you just, if you're in love with someone, you just shout it out. You just say it. Otherwise, the moment passes you by.
You and I didn't, in our relationships with other people, we didn't use the word love a lot, did we? Kimmy says if you love someone, you say it. You say it right then, out loud. Otherwise, the moment just
Passes you by.
passes you by.
And they go under a bridge, and it's like gets shady and dark, and the music swells, and then all of a sudden, what happens? They come out the other side.
They come out the other
and she
side.
doesn't say anything.
She opens her mouth to say something, but nothing comes out, and then she closes it. And then what's cool is, so when they go in, they're in the sun.
Yes.
They go into the dark, and that's the moment. And you're like, you just say, I love you, and you kiss under the bridge, and then you're still going to be kissing when you come out. But she doesn't say it, and then they come back into the light, and that was the moment. Yeah. And you feel it. You feel it. As an audience member, you're like, oh no, that was it.
Yeah, you root for her in
and
that
we
moment.
all have had those moments where you're like,
You
that
ache
was the
for her.
moment to say something.
You missed it.
And if you don't say it in that moment, those moments come maybe once, maybe twice, but they don't come very often. And if you blow it, you blow it.
You blow it. It was the moment. Well, and they credit that scene to, they had a great cinematographer. They said they had a cinematographer, and I didn't write down his name because I'm rude like that. But they said that rom-coms today, they just don't get the same like credit that this one did as far as like the filming and the beautiful shots and just taken seriously. I think as a film.
Yes, absolutely. This, no, we'll get into it a little bit later. But like as a rom-com, the fact that it takes itself seriously, that's why the say a little prayer for me scene is too much.
Seems a little off.
Because
It's more
this
traditional
movie,
rom-com.
as a chick flick, takes itself seriously. And in fact, I even wrote down the score is terrible.
What, for this?
The score in this movie is awful. If you change the score, you can make this movie even better. Because the score tries to be like that goofy little chick flicky, like.
Oh, when you say score, you're talking about the background music. You're not
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
not the
like
soundtrack. Not the
okay,
soundtrack.
okay.
The
Clarify. It's like
score.
the soundtrack is like
instrumentals.
incredible. Okay, I
The
hear you.
instrumentals are atrocious.
It sounds a little bit like Home Alone at times.
Yes, that's
There's
a
some
great
very
comp.
Home Alone-y,
So
schemy
imagine you're
backgrounds.
watching a movie
Mm-hmm.
that's like has your standard chick flick moments,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got a twist, being that Machiavellian anti-hero type appeal to it. But you're listening to this Home Alone style score underneath it when you're like, no, stop it, shut up. Take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Everything around this movie is taking it seriously. The actors are taking it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
The cinematography is taking it seriously. The story, for the most part, 95% of it is taking it seriously.
Even in its funny moments, it's taking it
Yes,
seriously.
and you can be funny. You can be funny, but still like be grounded in reality.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie was doing for the most part, 95%.
Yeah.
And then the score is totally ruining it. It's like,
I'll have to get some of that.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, shut up. Turn the volume off. And so, but there's a moment right after that moment with the boat, and he says, "You still know how to dance, don't you?" And they dance on that boat, and the cinematographer captures her, and he's like turned away. It's his back, and she has her head on his shoulder, and a tear drops down her cheek, and I about lost it. I was like,
I always cry at that
I was
moment.
like,
Like,
oh God.
thinking about that moment,
Oh
I'm
my
about
God.
ready to cry. It always gets me. And I don't know, I can even be like half-ass watching this film and I see that moment and it's just like, oh, it's so heartbreaking.
It's palpable. Like it's an incredible moment. Rach is tearing up right now. She's about ready to
I
cry.
told you, I'm thinking about it.
I have another movie that gets me too, but I want to save it. So
one more thing about that bridge scene.
Yes,
So
yes.
when they come out, so that day was actually pretty overcast.
Okay.
And so the first take that they got, where it comes out and then the sun shines again, that was the first take. They took several after that, but they were never able to like
Yeah.
recreate that sun like coming out from under the bridge.
it's
So they're like, all right,
brilliant.
that's our shot.
yeah,
So,
it was the shot for sure.
was the
It was
shot.
gorgeous.
Yeah. All right, your turn.
Well, I have all these quotes. Do you want me to get into some of these quotes?
I could
do you
do
wanna
some
save-
quotes. I have a couple more scenes I want to talk about. Just
Okay,
general
we're
scenes,
gonna save
and
it
then
then.
let's go to and then switch to quotes. Let's talk about the bathroom fight.
Yes, we can talk about the bathroom fight.
I love the bathroom fight.
Yep.
So, Kimmy's dad is actually the owner of what sports team?
The White Sox.
The White Sox.
I almost said the Cubs. Nope.
I never I mean, I knew they were wealthy, but I never paid it close enough attention to the background
Well-
of the story to know that her dad is an owner of a baseball
Well, Rach,
team.
I mean, she's kind of middle class then, because if her dad was the owner of the Cubs, she'd be upper class.
Oh, is that right?
But because it's the White Sox only,
She's not that
She's
rich?
actually kind of just upper middle class.
Oh, okay, upper middle, yeah.
She's like what you'd say a principal is, you know.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure. Well, so after the scene where Kimmy sees that Julia Roberts is kissing her fiance, she gets upset and she runs off, and she ends up running to where else but the White Sox field, which is kind of fun.
It is kind of fun because they're all chasing each other in that scene. So like Kimmy's running away, Cameron Diaz,
Yeah.
and then the guy, what's his name?
Dermot.
Dermot is running after her, and then Julia Roberts is running after him. See, that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, this is somewhat grounded in reality.
Sure.
Like I don't have a problem with goofiness, but this isn't super wild. It's just cute. It's just fun.
Yeah, just cute. Well, she runs and she hides in the bathrooms at the stadium. And Julia Roberts finally finds her and is like trying to convince her, like, hey, sorry, I did it. Come back, come marry the man of my dreams.
Yes, I love that. Come marry the man of our dreams.
Marry the man of our dreams.
Oh.
Yes. But I love that scene so much. Well, it's just so funny because everyone in the bathroom like starts to like get involved in it. They're like, "Oh, cat fight," and then they're like booing Julia Roberts when she's like, "You kissed him at my parents' house on my wedding day." They're like, "Oh, boo, hiss." She's like, "Yeah, okay, I did, yeah." Oh, it's just so fun. And then even just like seeing like Kimmy's true side too about you didn't trust when Julia Roberts says like you didn't trust me. Don't pretend like you thought we were
You're trying to keep me
friends.
close.
She's like, I was right not to trust you. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So that's also the part with that character of Kimmy that makes her not like a cartoon. I think there's something that could very easily just be this kind of squeaky, preppy, little annoying person, but she's really, like Julia Roberts says when she's describing who Kimmy is to her friend Rupert. She's like, honestly, if I didn't have to hate her, I would adore her. I think she's endearing, and she's very grounded, and she's sweet, but like almost too sweet, but not too sweet. Yeah, I don't know.
She's chocolate covered Kimmy.
Sweet little chocolate covered Kimmy. Those were her exact words. I think other ones. The phone scene at the end, we talked about this a little bit. So the addition of having Rupert come back for that.
Yep. Saucy gay friend calls her while she's
Yes.
sitting at the wedding, and he's like, I can just picture you now, staring at your uneaten cake, tapping your fingers on the table, and she's like, wait, or he says what color her dress is, and she's like, I never told you this dress was this color or whatever, and he's like, oh, now you're sitting up, now you're standing up, you're looking
so
around,
great.
and he
It's
just
so
explains everything. It's really funny.
It's so funny.
That whole phone conversation was excellent.
It's wonderful.
And then, suddenly, the crowds part. And there he is. Sleek, stylish, radiant with charisma. Bizarrely, he's on the telephone. But then, so are you. And he comes towards you. The moves of a jungle cat. And although you quite correctly sense that he is gay, like most devastatingly handsome single men of his age are, you think, what the hell? Life goes on. Maybe there won't be marriage. Maybe there won't be sex. But by God, there'll be dancing.
One of the things that they were going to have in the original ending, Dionne Warwick. And so when we talk about Dionne Warwick, we're talking about the woman who is the original singer of I Say a Little Prayer for You.
Oh.
She was actually going to be the singer at the wedding.
Oh, okay.
And they invited her to come, and she just didn't get on the plane, and she was a no-show.
Oh, shoot.
Which she was living in, I think, South Africa at the time.
Oh, gotcha.
But
okay.
the director was like, you know, it's okay because we went with a different ending, and it probably would have been cut anyways. So no hard feelings.
Yeah.
But I thought that was it was a little cheese. I think potentially having her be like the singer for
I didn't need
that moment.
No,
Yeah.
no. I just watching them dance and like be happy, and it's just like about that friendship. That was fine for me.
Yeah.
That's a good ending.
Give me some quotes.
Okay, so I loved Cameron Diaz says this. He's got you on a pedestal and me in his arms. And I was like, oh wow. What do you think of Julia Roberts has a line when she's pretending to marry her gay best friend, and she's like, yeah, he just came in for a few hours to F me.
He goes, it takes a few hours. I know. It's like, whoa, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh. I thought when the ring was stuck on her finger, so Julia Roberts is tasked with keeping hold of the ring.
Yeah.
And she puts it on just like in cute moment, being like, oh, I wonder what this would look like on my fingers. And then it gets stuck. And then he's like, where's the ring, by the way? And then she like shows him, and she's on the ground at the time, and he's like straddling her over top, not straddling her like sitting on her, but like hovering over her.
Yeah.
Standing up.
The
And
angle.
she like shows him, and like the look she has on her face when she's like, it's stuck on my finger. There's something about it that I was like, that is one of the cutest freaking looks I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's adorable.
So I love that. I liked Julia Roberts is trying to explain to Cameron Diaz why he's not going to marry her. She says that Cameron is souffle?
Creme brulee.
Creme brulee.
Yeah, she
Creme
compares her to creme brulee, and she says that Michael, this Dermot character, he wants Jell-O because Jell-O is more comfortable.
Yep.
And go on.
And then
say
she's
it.
like, I can be Jell-O. And she goes, you're never going to be Jell-O.
You're never gonna be Jell-O. I have to be Jell-O.
Oh, I thought that was great. I loved it. We already kind of mentioned this one, but I love when Julia Roberts goes, I'm the bad guy. And just like her just like admitting that. And she said it earlier to a crazy cameo by Paul Giamatti.
Yeah,
as like a bellhop.
Yep, he's
and
great.
she's like talking about what a bad person she is. And that's a nice scene. But then she has a moment later in the movie where she's like, I'm the bad guy. And just that like realization. It's like, oh, you are the bad guy. And you know what I loved? I loved how short their wedding speeches were. I think that all wedding speeches should be much shorter.
You think so?
Yeah. I think everybody drones on and on and on.
Who are you?
You know
saying that
you know
to?
what really chaps my ass is when people they're like, oh, I don't have the confidence to do my own speech, so I'm gonna like sucker my sister in. We're gonna do like a partner speech.
You're a little
I think
brat.
it's such a cop out. It's like, oh, you can't stand on your own 2 feet. Oh, and now we're just gonna listen to you both drone on and on and on, making your little jokes and quips and everything. Like, oh, you know what I knew they were gonna get together was when this happened.
How dare you,
Oh,
sir?
yeah, you remember the time when I knew it was going to be together?
Are you going to explain to the 90% of our listeners who don't know what you're
Rach always
referring
does a
to?
partner speech with her sisters for every
And apparently
wedding
you
speech.
hate it?
They're awful. Everybody hates them.
Mm.
They're always the worst. Everybody always talks about them when you're not around.
Oh, yeah?
And they always go, gosh, those two, can they get a life? What a bunch of losers.
How dare you? You're being really mean right now. You better take it back.
I'm just kidding. Everybody loves it. It pisses me off.
Why would it piss you off?
Because
It
I
does.
want the limelight. Always.
Cameron Diaz driving. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
She did her own driving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So she zips in and out of traffic like a wild woman.
Well, I mean, they planned it that way. Like, they had
Yeah.
everyone else go 30 miles an hour, and then she was going 60, but she did her own. It looked like a stunt driver.
Yeah, it did actually.
Yeah, the director was like, yep, she drives like she's rich. Like, she's like, I don't care. This is how I drive. People get out of my way. I've got a fancy car, so if you hit me, you're gonna spend the rest of your life paying it off. The helium song.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that scene a little bit.
Okay, so
it's kind of random.
It is pretty
Another
random.
random one.
So she's trying to tell him, this is right before the kiss, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is towards the end of the movie. Julia Roberts is trying to tell him how she feels before
Mm-hmm.
she just finally comes out and says, I love you. And his little brother
yeah.
is,
And a couple of friends.
And a couple of friends are sucking in helium and singing like kind of a sweet song.
Yeah, so the song
I didn't
is
know what it
funny.
was, but-
Yeah, I didn't either. It's a John Denver song. It's called Annie's Song.
Oh, okay.
Originally, they wanted the song to be Bridge Over Troubled Water by
Oh,
Paul
gotcha.
Simon, but they have to get permission from Paul Simon.
Yep.
And Paul Simon's like, honestly, you can have any of my songs, but not that one, to sing in helium. He's
Yeah,
like, it's too
yep.
serious of a song for you to sing it with that voice.
I'll be honest, I didn't need to hear Bridge Over Troubled Water.
No.
in
Did
that
you,
moment.
Yeah. How did you feel about this moment just in general? Is it too much?
The helium and stuff, is that part of it?
Yeah.
I mean,
think
the dialogue between Julia Roberts and him is not too much.
No,
and all
that's
that.
not what I'm just thinking, like, when we talk about, like, the singing in
Yeah.
the restaurant, and we've got this, like,
It
them
wasn't to
singing
that
this.
degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably didn't need it,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't bother me either. I was like, oh, okay. Because I didn't think it was necessarily that funny because it was a sweet song they were singing.
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, they're sucking in helium and that's kind of goofy. But at the same time, they're singing this sweet song and they seem to be actually, like, being serious as they're singing it. And so that, to me, didn't bother me.
Yeah. Me neither. Not really, anyways. Cool. Ty, is all's fair in love and war?
In war, it's tricky because if I believe that all's fair in love and war, I believe in like the gas that was being used in World War I. And I don't know if I believe in that. Or nuclear weapons. I don't think I believe in that. I think war should have honor and chivalry. I think we should go back to knights.
Well, what about love? Do you think love is the same?
Now, love is different.
Love is different?
Love, you might need to use gas. I don't know. Sometimes I think you gotta be somewhat cutthroat. I think you have to do what needs to be done, even if you hurt some people's feelings. Even if you burn some bridges, sometimes you have to burn some bridges in order to make it to the castle and make sure that the army who's chasing you doesn't get across the moat.
Do you think that Julia Roberts' character in this is a villain?
I think she is somebody who was desperately in love. I do think she was in love. I think she was desperately in love, and she made a lot of bad choices, but she's not a villain. I actually think she's a good person. He says this even. He's like, I'm mad that you did all this, but I also think it's really cool that you love me that much to do that.
Yeah, thanks for loving me that
Yeah,
much.
thanks for loving me that much. Like, I thought that was really sweet. And it was like, in a way, it's like a really sweet consolation prize. You know, it's like, at least he knew that I loved him that much to do all these crazy things. And that it was really because I just love him so much and I care about him so much.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to let you go because I love you that much. Who loves you? He loves you. Who loves you more? To let you go.
Never did I ever think that was going to be sung twice on this episode. Other thoughts that you have? Otherwise, I'm going to start getting into like some reviews and all that other scuttlebutt. What other thoughts do you have?
Oh, okay. Here's the other moment that almost got me.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yes. What also almost had you in tears?
Yeah. So the boat scene was the first one.
Ugh, don't make me cry again. Don't
And
even
then
bring
this
it up.
one almost got me even more though.
Yeah.
So there's a scene at the very end of the movie. He got married. She just did the speech, and then they play a song, which I loved. That her speech was pretty simple, and then she just has a song played for him. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, she gives them her song, or
Yep.
their song on loan.
Yep.
Which is kind
Until
of like
they can figure out a
crazy when like the rest of the audience is like, wait, this is your song? Like, wait, you guys used to hook up? Like it's very like that's a lot of information.
song. So there was that moment, and then they're getting ready to walk off. Him and Cameron Diaz, they're walking through a crowd, and she's on the other side of the crowd, and she's like kind of a little desperate, like,
Yeah, like,
I
he's
kind of wanted to
leaving.
say goodbye to him, like he's
I'm never
leaving
gonna say
forever.
goodbye. I'm not seeing him again.
Our life is probably going to change forever, and I'll never see him ever again. And then he's like just gone, and you can just feel her heartbreak. You're like, no, he's gone. And then all of a sudden he appears, and he just hugs her. And they talked earlier in the movie about how like Cameron Diaz never makes him let go. And when Julia Roberts and him dated and they'd hug, she'd pull away. And instead, they just have this embrace, and it lasts for a long time.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and
You're
so it was
right.
like
She
she
doesn't
has
pull away.
learned, and she even mentions, she's like, I've changed, I'm different. And it's like, no, she really has changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's not afraid of intimacy anymore. She like really dearly loves this person, and she's letting him go. But then they have this last shared moment of connection where it was almost, and then he says goodbye to her, and to me it was the. You're not going to say goodbye to me forever. Like, we're still going to be in each other's lives. And we both have, like, grown through this thing, and now he's going to go off and be married. I thought it was beautiful.
Do you think they stay friends after this?
I do.
Do you?
I do. I think she's going to play the long game and wait for things to kind of
You think
spoil.
she's
And
gonna wait
then
to shoot her shot
she,
later?
yeah, she's going to say, I'm going to catch you on the other side.
Doesn't sound like she learned her lesson then.
No, she did, though.
Yeah.
She's not going to try.
No.
She's just going to be there.
She's just gonna be there
She's
when
gonna be
it
a great
all falls
friend.
apart.
And then whenever he's like, oh man, Kimmy's being really annoying. She hogs all the pillows and stuff. She'll just look at him. She'll go, And then we'll go, oh, you going to start it again? And she goes, no, I'm just listening. And I'll go, huh, that's weird. Why am I thinking about Julia Roberts now? That's weird.
I mean, I don't know that he has a lot to complain about with Kimmy. She's making a lot of sacrifices in this marriage. Should we talk about the fact that she's a year away from graduating? She's 8 years younger than him, so she's still in college.
Yep.
She's studying to be an architect. She needs one more year, and she's going to put it all on hold to
Travel
around with him because he's a sports writer
Yep.
and to live this
And not even like
low-class life.
Not even like a sports writer, like he writes for one specific entity.
Yeah,
He's like
just follows baseball teams.
Yeah, just for hire, just a rogue sports writer who writes for all these different little publications and buys little articles for $50.
Yeah. Their conflicts that they bring up, and one of the devices that Julia Roberts tries to use to break them up, like tries to highlight, like, what are you thinking? Like, Kimmy, like, don't give up your life for this guy. She called him this doofus. Like, don't follow him around. Like, it's so insensitive. I can't believe you're making her, like, give up all of that, like, to follow you. Why? So she highlights that, and it's part of it's like, Roberts, you have a good point.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
That's kind of crazy. And so
Well,
I
and
think
she
that's...
says towards the end of the movie, she's like, I want to have a life. I want to have a career. And so I actually think that that's something they figured out.
Yeah.
That she was not going to do that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Says the wife who's about to drop everything and move to Illinois for her husband and his PhD
But I'm not
fancies.
giving up my job. I'm working still.
Yeah.
Mostly because we have to.
Yeah, if you could give up your job, would you?
I mean...
Pretend that I made so much money as a PhD.
I mean...
I made enough money to be the daughter of the owner of the White Sox. So that means we are upper middle class.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I would give up work for a while, at least for while we had kids that were little. I would do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow?
Julia Roberts is in here lecturing you
I
right
wouldn't
now.
do that
Come
forever.
on.
That's not a sellout job.
That's a sellout.
Being a mom is not a sellout job.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're going to be a mom. Gross.
I'm going to do it forever. I would go crazy if I did it forever. Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice. This movie was attempted to be made into a musical.
Oh, okay.
And this was right before COVID.
Oh,
gonna
got the
open-
COVID blues.
Yep, it was going to open in the UK. And then COVID happened, and it got canceled, and then it just never got back up on its feet.
Oh, okay.
It just kind of fizzled and popped.
Yeah.
Poof. So, we'll never know.
Well, that's interesting because Pretty Woman was right around COVID as well, but it survived.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on tour and had a successful tour, and companies are going to start doing
people usually
it.
like that more than
Gosh, the music
this.
is not good in that. Like, that's such
I've
a
never
bummer.
listened to it.
Like, you're talking about Richard Gere role? Like, I'm perfect for that. I want that to be so good. I was like, oh, I could be cast as this for years.
I have so much gray to be had.
I'm like, yeah, I'm a star in the making
it's gonna
on
be
this
awesome.
one. And the music sucks.
Budget for this, $38 million to make, and it ended up making, I think we talked about this earlier, worldwide $299 million.
Whoa.
But even its opening weekend, so this came out in June, it made $21 million its first week, so almost made back the budget. Big hit right off the bat.
Gosh, how much do you think she got for this?
Roberts?
If the whole thing was $38 million?
Oh, I don't know.
Like 5?
Yeah, probably, because this was earlier in her career. I think now she commands like
The 20 mil project, probably.
just about.
Yeah, I bet
think.
she's like, it's set at 20 mil, and then if certain movies are going to be
maybe
higher
a little
than
less,
that,
but yeah, depending
20
on
mil
it.
and profit sharing.
Yeah. But it was second behind Batman and Robin. So that gives you a little like flavor of what was happening in the world around
So
this
it came
time.
when it came out, it was second to Batman and Robin?
Yeah, it opened second to
Oh,
Batman
okay.
and Robin, but made a lot of money. And at the time, it was the record for opening weekend for a rom-com
Oh,
at
gotcha.
the time. Since then, not so much. But yeah, like I said, I think, what do we say? Pretty Woman has gone on to make more than this and so forth. So can I read some reviews to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone called it the summer date film supreme for pretty women and the gay men they love.
Okay.
Total Film says, I don't know who that is. Total Film says, a perfect date movie that proves that Roberts isn't as crap as we all thought she was. So,
Who in 97 thought, man, you know who's crap? Julia Roberts.
yeah, that person.
She can eat a big one. She sucks.
That person doesn't work in it anymore. She had this year prior done some like period pieces and some like smaller films. So she had gotten away from rom-com and like some of her like drama
She
budget.
has like some of the worst Cockney in a movie.
Yeah, I think it might have been around this time. And so like
Yeah.
I think that's why what this
Okay.
person's referring to, but like you cannot start like you are so wrong.
Yeah,
like
I guess Julia Roberts doesn't
I
suck.
guess she isn't crap. Like what? Says who? Says when? Who's saying such things? Not that she's always like brilliant, but she's brilliant in this. So
Yeah, for sure.
you're crazy. Some awards. It was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Musical or Comedy Score.
Get out of here. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, it literally could be nominated for almost anything besides special effects, and I would be less confused. What?
Yeah, it says scores. Doesn't say soundtrack. It says score.
Score? The score is seriously one of the worst scores I've ever heard.
Man, I don't even know who did it, but they almost got an Oscar for it. Oh, that's Home Alone. That was great. That should have been nommed if it wasn't.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
it was nommed,
That
if
was
I
an
recall our
excellent
facts. Globes, it was nommed for lots of things. Actress, supporting actor, best comedy musical. I didn't win
Win
anything.
anything? Oh, okay.
No, but just nommed. So, are you ready for a critics' consensus?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks to a charming performance from Julia Roberts and a subversive spin on the genre, My Best Friend's Wedding is a refreshingly entertaining romantic comedy. Rotten Tomatoes, 74%.
Okay.
Audience, 73%.
Oh, gotcha.
Another one that is like right on par with each other.
Yeah, for
Guffman
sure.
was also like a point away. So
Uh-huh.
the people know what they like.
Yeah.
And they know when they all like it. Tile-meter.
Okay.
Tell me.
Yes.
up?
Here's what I've got for you. My bestest of friends' matrimony has the shiny veneer of Runaway Bride, but it's so much more. It's sad. Like every wedding where someone is really bummed that you're getting married because they're still in love with you. For Rach and I, that was like 10 people. And that's what this movie is. It's a 10. A 10 out of 13, which is roughly an 80%, and tied with First Wives Club and below Can't Hardly Wait.
Hey, all right. That's great. Would you say 83%?
80.
80%.
80%.
I can't remember.
It's a 10 out of 13.
That's what it is.
It's a 10 out of 13.
A 10 out of 13. That was well done. Well done.
Told Rach while I was writing that right before we got on, I just started writing. I was like stumped. I was like, I'll just start writing something. And then I kept morphing into new things. I was like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, 10 out of 13. Yep, let's check the math. Yep, that's good. Yep.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Like my other top fivers for me, I'm just gonna say it. This is 100% for me. It's a hundo. Is it like absolutely perfect? No, but I love it. I love it so much. It's 100%.
It's really good.
It's so great.
It's a great movie.
It's well cast. It's well acted. It's funny. There's a spin on it. It's not your typical rom-com genre.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's a wonderful movie. If you haven't seen it and if we haven't spoiled enough of it for you, just watch it. It's so good. It ages pretty well, I think.
I think so. I think it ages super well.
Yeah, especially if you're like into 90s fashion, like it's all back.
Yeah,
Go
for
watch
sure.
it. It's great.
There's no words in it that everybody cringes at or anything.
No,
There's no moments really that people would cringe at.
I don't think so.
I think it's pretty good. It aged really well compared to most 90s movies.
Yeah, that's true. It's
No.
very that was a fun rewatch. Thanks for humoring me with that.
You
And
bet.
thank you, audience, for allowing me to go back and watch two of my all-time favorite movies. That was so fun. But now, for me at least, the rest of the season will be back to our old plan where I'm going to just show you some movies that you've never seen.
Okay.
I'm going to show you things you've never seen before.
Oh my gosh. She doesn't even know what she's doing. No, she knows exactly what she's doing.
But before that, Ty, you have another fave on the
Yes.
list, do you not?
We're going to hit the last of the top 5 movies that the audience doesn't know about.
Oh.
Yep. So we've seen Killer Clowns.
Yep.
We've seen Braveheart.
Yep.
We know about the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We know about Aladdin.
If we didn't, now we do.
Now we do.
Now you remember.
The 5th movie in this catalog. This usually sits in the 3 spot, but has been in the 1 spot before. It kind of jumps around, but it's typically in the 3rd spot.
Mm-hmm.
Is a movie that not many people have seen, and I'm gonna give you, audience, a week to watch this movie.
Oh, okay.
To just engage with one of Ty's top 5s and be like, ooh, I've never seen it before. Interesting. Yes. Let's get literary. Let's get saucy. Let's get epic. Let's see more sword fighting. Let's get romantic. Let's see revenge. We are going to watch The Count of Monte Cristo.
Love to. Love the bag, love the shoes, love everything. Love to.
Thank you.